Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
And this week is our
150th episode.
That's right, it's all about our 4th year celebration.
Yeah.
With zombies.
This week on
Cup of RAD. Hey everybody, guess what? It's 150. That's right, 150 episodes that have been coming in your ear holes. That's what's happening. So
it's right out of the gate with that one.
Well, we do. We
go right out of the gate.
We come hard and fast in your ear holes each week.
Yep. With our coffee.
With a coffee.
We actually are properly drinking coffee.
Back to our roots. Back to the grassroots. How it all started.
I don't really feel over-caffeinated, but just working on slightly getting caffeinated.
It's been
okay.
A weird week, so. Yeah.
Kicking off October. October is the busiest month for us.
It's the spooky season.
It's
spooky season.
That's all he cares about. There's so many things before the spooky season, but it's like, nope.
No, there's lots of things in October. 1 anniversary. For us as a couple. 2 podcast anniversary. 3 Canadian Thanksgiving. 4 child's birthday.
The accent's changing. It's awesome.
And 5 Halloween. Did I miss any?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Well, we got more. I have a lot of other family birthdays as well.
True.
Within the month. Like, it's just, I have a couple uncles. I have a father, a mother, a cousin. Like, I don't have a mother. Mike.
You do have a mother.
I do have a mother. Her birthday is not in October.
Yeah.
But, lots of things in October. It's a busy month for us.
Totally.
So, but all we care about right now is the
spooky season.
The podcast
anniversary episode.
Thank you, Count, for counting us down on our lessons.
But so I thought what we'd do is, because we have accumulated quite a few new listeners over the years, and I'm not sure if people have gone back and listened to those first few episodes and all that.
You know what the first few episodes entailed?
But just like the introduction wise.
Who are we?
Yes.
Mike and Katie. Who are they?
And why? And what? And who should we care? You should care. Because
we're amazing.
Well, I was going to say because, caring is amazing and it's nice to care. No.
We're amazing. And right there, that just shows our personalities.
So we had started this podcast 4 years ago now, 150 episodes ago.
Wow.
And the podcast started out of looking for a way to reconnect with each other since we did a big move and we no longer had the easeability for childcare.
Yes.
So we'd always been told by quite a few people that they enjoyed our thoughts.
Friendly banter on things.
On movies and pop culture and all that. Mm-hmm. And we decided that we would go ahead with it as well. Because we are very, very much into a lot of pop culture things and movies and whatnot. So,
well, one of our favorite pastimes, we'd go to a movie and then we'd love to go and get coffee. We still do get coffee and sit and talk about said movie.
Yeah.
And so, you like to talk about toys a lot, and we share comics and movies and TV shows and toys and manga and all sorts of things. And so the idea of being able to talk about that on here.
Yeah, and send it out to the world and have all you beautiful people listen to it as we drench your ear holes each week.
I'm just visualizing the idea of drenched ear holes for a moment. That'd be a cool art thing to have words coming out of an ears. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, that's how it would be. But so we did that. It was also a way for myself. I had a head injury and I was stuttering a lot and I was pausing, and it was making me very self-conscious and bringing anxieties up to the surface. So I wasn't working at the time. So it was also a way for me to talk more, because I was even struggling just the idea of having ordering at coffee or anything like that, right? It would bring me great anxiety because it would have a hard time processing. But the longer we've done the podcast, and the more that you share the podcast and send it to more people, so the more people listen, the more we can continue doing it to keep that kind of at bay, right? So
yeah, it made a huge difference. You know, that stuttering aspect is definitely reduced, and you can get your thoughts out faster. So it has a lot of, as I stutter while I say this, a lot of reasons behind it, not just for fun, but I mean, it is a hobby for us, but it's therapeutic, and it's kind of a date time that we can kind of carve out for us.
Yeah. You know, and over the years,
we sit here and stare at each other
while we drink our beverage.
Yes.
Today's coffee, lovely caffeination.
Yeah. We do a little bit of everything. Tea, beer, wine, tequila.
That's how it goes, right? We met quite a few people through the podcast. It's been really cool. Simon over the Brew Pill, and they're not the Spit Roast podcast anymore, but Adam Neeson and his crew, and Jonathan Bell, and JDR 1205, and Bunchy. So we really appreciate everybody, and Justimus Prime too, and Insane Dragon Ball, like everybody that's really over the years really helped us continue and go, so big thank you to everyone that listens. This year too, we still haven't gotten back to be able to do a contest like we did the last 2 years. Hopefully,
well, what I was going to say, this year I think it'd be really great if we could pursue trying to get some merch out, because I know we looked at that where we could, the idea of here's the logo and here's your options and you can just do whatever you want for it. I think that would be really cool to be able to try to get up and running as a at least available thing. So. Yeah,
something. Everyone needs a bit of a cup of rad while they listen.
Spread the radness,
right? So, but who are we as people? Who are we as beings? What makes us tickety talk? So, Katie,
Mike, yes.
Her eyes are huge and terrified.
I don't like interviews. Yes. What can I answer you?
Well, let's give it's like a flash briefing feel where you're just gonna like.
Can we also introduce and remind people, if you don't know already, I also don't like answering unknown questions at a rapid pace. So we'll see how this goes.
Lightning round.
Lightning rounds are terrifying. Okay, what can we do? What would you like? Would you like me to list off some fandoms? Would you like me to?
When it comes to comic characters, give me 3 characters.
Wonder Woman, Flash. Those are my default ones. Comic characters. I also like Black Canary. I like the Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. So there we go.
So yeah, there you go. Big DC nerd.
I mean, my biggest things I collect are Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn, and then Flash. I don't really have a merch of the other ones. I really like the Birds of Prey series, and I like, but I collect a lot of Harley Quinn stuff actually. So yeah. There you go. That wasn't scary. I can do that.
You're totally fine. Drop 3 movies that are some of the most enjoyable movies that you have.
Oh my goodness, this is the terrifying.
Just random. 3, just
why
3.
Is it
pop in your head?
Literally every single time I think of movies, can you guess which movie it's going to be?
Dirty Dancing.
It is going to be Dirty Dancing. Yeah, it's like one of my apparently absolute favorite ones. I love The Little Mermaid as well. And then totally off the topic of those ones, let's just jump to like a Marvel movie, like the MCU stuff. No, we're not going to go there. I don't know. I like the Thor movies. Just go with that. I'm not going to overthink it, man.
Yeah. Music. What do you listen to right now? Like, what are like some of the things you listen to?
You know what? Right now, I'm on a Bush from the 90s. Okay, like I knew as soon as I was going to say it, I was like, he's going to be like, what the hell?
It was more or less the wording. I'm on a Bush kick.
I'm on a Bush kick.
Like.
That's what I've been listening to, but it's because I listen to a lot of things at work. It's kind of difficult to try to find something to go from there with. Otherwise, it's a lot of random on my liked playlist. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of listening to at the moment. And then one of my all-time favorite classics are Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. Those are like old school classic musicians. The other thing I've been listening to is Dirty Vegas again. Like I've been listening to some like old stuff right now.
Yeah.
But new wise, yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that. And I've just been like random stuff.
That's fair. It gives people an insight of where your mind frame goes.
A little bit of everything right there.
3 cartoons you would promote.
Cartoons.
Yeah.
Gravity Falls.
Okay.
Star Wars Forces of Evil. And honestly, because we watched it, Amphibia.
All on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Look at that promotion.
All amazing.
3 television shows.
3 television shows. I've been rewatching Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
I have watched it from the beginning, so it's been kind of weird because now I'm watching the new, and then I've been rewatching the old one, so it's kind of been trippy with that. Friends, I have seen it up 10 million times, and I can hear it in my head even when it's on mute. Let's see, other television shows. We loved Supernatural and Smallville as well. So the other thing I've been watching is Private Practice. I really liked that spin-off from Grey's Anatomy, and I'm sad that Netflix doesn't have it, so I can't watch it easily on the go, because watching that at home is very difficult, right? So I've been watching Grey's Anatomy on Netflix on my lunch breaks, and I can't watch Private Practice, and it's sad. So I have to go watch dirty DVDs. So
if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Only one food? Oh my goodness. Well, because it can't be like a treat of some sort. Like, burgers allow for versatility on things. So we'll go with that, because there's also still vegetables in it. So, plant-based burgers, of course, though.
Let's see. Disneyland. Give me 3 rides that are like your all-time favorite. It could be also DCA, like...
Okay. Haunted Mansion. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And... I liked Hollywood Tower of Terror. Guardians, I guess, still goes in there. It's still really enjoyable. So we'll go with those 3.
Okay.
And my favorite, and then Little Mermaid.
Fair enough.
So
there we go. There's a little speed round on Katie.
Okay, so I gotta go back at you now then. Okay, so movies.
Okay.
Okay, 3 top movies. 3 movies that you think of.
Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Jurassic Park.
Nice. It's a very specific moment in history, basically, of a time frame for things.
But see, then I'd also throw Beetlejuice in there and Batman and like.
See, it just doesn't end.
It spirals. Right? It spirals. Yeah. Like those.
See, I have I love a lot of movies, and I have a very hard time of answering that question because. But
those were my childhood.
Yeah.
Like those were the.
See, my childhood was Little Mermaid.
Right.
And Dirty Dancing, which is really not okay.
No.
When I think about it.
No. Like Jurassic Park was like the first movie that made me say, I want to read the novel, right?
Jurassic Park was the first novel I read.
Like that same idea where it was like everything else was just fluff up to that point, and that was like the first time I was like, wait, there's a book based on this? I need to read it.
That's cool.
So.
Okay. Comic book characters.
Which universe or just random?
Oh, random.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Here, we'll be nice to you because see, I like Marvel characters, but you have more of a Marvel thing. So let's go for DC first.
DC 3. Is it?
Yes, 3. I'm like, what is DC 3? What am I not privy to?
Nightwing, Batman, and Green Arrow.
Okay, Marvel.
I would say Wolverine, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man.
And other. Yeah.
TMNT, Hellboy. trying to think if there is. I do like Spawn, but
Yeah. Well, I remember you really loved Fables when that first came in. That was a big thing for you. Those types of stories. You know,
I can't pick one character.
Yeah, I know, right? One thing that we didn't talk about, though, with my lightning round, though, was the concept of the other types of characters. Like, I have really recently found a love of Sailor Moon. I have the whole collection of books. I have given up on the cartoon because it just frustrated me. But I really do love the manga. So that I've been really, really enjoying. And I know you really like My Hero Academia. And Demon Slayer.
I guess that would fall into my other would be
as well.
Hellboy, My Hero, and TMNT.
And then other books wise, I also love is the My Little Pony graphic novels because they are hilarious and they have pop culture references and then they just randomly, and I love all of that. So TV shows.
TV's a hard one for me.
I know.
You're gonna stump me on this one. While
you think about that, I would like to comment that I think it's Kiddo's video game that I can hear, and it's weird, like polka carnival music that's coming through the walls.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, I don't think it's next door.
TV. You know, I really loved Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I'm sad that ended.
That one was a really good show.
That was a good show because it was fast. What We Do in Shadows is probably my favorite one that's available right now because that
this season's been hilarious.
You know, let's see.
You don't have a real attachment to something like we for our history wise. We watched Supernatural and Smallville together, but that was in the past, right? So.
One sitcom that is my ultimate sitcom is Last Man on Earth.
Yes,
with Will Forte.
Yes,
I have watched that thing to death.
You would watch it again.
I would watch it again in a heartbeat, and that's another one that was sad that it ended before its time. But that one there, and that is on Star Plus on Disney or Hulu. If you got that, that is just a funny show.
It was so well done.
It's so ridiculous, but it feels almost more real for an apocalypse.
I 100% agree. For sure.
Because everyone thinks that they'd be like these badass road warriors, Mad Max, Walking Dead, but in reality, we're all just gonna get turned into jackass.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like, what stupid shit can we do today? Yeah. I can launch myself off of this. Yep. All the things that held you back because you didn't want to damage something or pay for something or, you know. Yeah. Yep. So your easier one, cartoons. 5. I'll give you 5.
Are we currently or all?
All. If I give you 5, it's going to be all. It's going to be all.
That's a dirty slap to the face.
I know.
2012 TMNT.
Okay.
I would say Gravity Falls because that was a near perfect series.
2012 TMNT was absolutely fabulous. I must agree.
Animaniacs because I had to find a generation's humor. Or define my humor.
Define Mike's humor.
Batman the Animated Series.
I was going to say, dude, where's Batman?
But that also tags all of it because it's all connected. So I'm going to just say
just Batman?
Batman
animated?
Superman animated and then Justice League.
Oh, just all DC animated things.
And then Batman Beyond because they were all the same universe.
It was all so good.
That was all the same universe.
Nice. Oh, you're doing universes now.
Yeah. Because that was
something that I would try to do.
I really like Thundercats.
There you go.
Right. So.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go.
I would like to make an honorable mention here of a cartoon that has a history for us. Only because I thought I loved watching it when I was little, and I thought that I had imagined it. Gummy bears. Because what do they do, Mike?
Oh, you thought I did.
And gargoyles.
I thought you were going to gargoyles. That's the only.
No. And they're bouncing here and there.
High adventure that's beyond compare.
Yeah.
They are the gummy bears.
I just needed to say that, because it was just an important reminder of what a great theme song that show had.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So,
well, there's also Ducktales.
woohoo. The new Ducktales was so good.
Not Cottontails, but Ducktales. Yeah. The danger, watch behind you. The stranger out to find you.
Okay. We do that too. We break out into random theme songs. Okay, let's see. Music. Ever since the Suicide Squad, I've been listening to Grandson. Yes, that's been your thing. Your jam.
Yeah, I really like his music. Like, he doesn't have a lot, but like, I really actually do.
Oh, I really love The Killers. That's another one I've been listening to.
The other one is Rad Key. I really like their stuff. Mm-hmm. And then my favorite band has to be the Airborne Toxic Vent. But then that's like my more modern-y kind of feel. And then Fits and the Tantrums, I really do like their music.
Yeah.
Old stuff, it's like the classic grunge, and I'm not an 80s rocker. It's the 90s grunge, and then jump right to like the Beatles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Feel, right? So
yeah, I kind of jumped over the 80s, and
yeah.
And it's like rock for the 70s music too, right? So
Hendrix.
And then you just jump to the 60s. So
yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, no, I have no books. Yeah, was that everything? Now, got comments?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we got everything. Like that stuff.
No, you didn't. You didn't ask me the food question.
I didn't ask you the food question. If you could have one food, what would you?
Well, you knew it, so you were just like,
yeah, I did. But other people might not know it. If you know it, yell it now. Okay, let's see if you're right. And go.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza.
See, I thought about it, but like, pizza is life. But for us, it's a little harder to like really mix it up. That's why I was thinking. Like, I would eat pizza seriously all the time too. But
yeah, but like pizza's good cold. Burgers aren't good cold.
Correct.
Like you can take pizza on the go.
Yeah.
You can
we had really good wood-fired pizza a few days ago. Oh my goodness. And the crust from the wood-fired pizza is like so good. Mm-hmm. It's super just soft and fluffy. And it was sacrilegious because his family left this pile of crust on their table and it just hurt my soul.
The ultimate hobo moment for Katie, just trying not to go over and eat it.
That did not cross my mind, but it was very sad to see. So,
well, there were a whole bunch of,
because I can't say like cookies or crackers or ice cream or something because like that would,
you get sick.
I would get sick, right? So,
but you can put anything on pizza, and it could be a dessert pizza. It could be a lunch, dinner.
Just a little bit of everything. Breakfast. How are we gonna make breakfast? Can we make breakfast pizza?
We probably could.
Okay.
So,
there we go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite drink?
Probably coffee still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can always go for a coffee.
Yeah. Well, then cold or hot too. And there's a lot of variety there.
Yeah. Flavored, this, that, and there. You can get adventurous.
Yeah.
Pretty spectacular. Yeah. So, no, coffee. Beer is always a good one, though.
Yeah. We had sushi the other day, and we have a Old Yale Brewing mango wheat beer that goes surprisingly really well with sushi. Mm-hmm. Like, really well.
Usually we also used to always just drink water.
Yeah. But no, now we found the deliciousness of mango wheat beer with it.
Yeah. It pairs very well.
So good.
Very well.
So there we go.
So there you go. There's a little bit of a who and what and where and why. Yeah. Now, with the podcast, too, what we like to try to do is we try not to dwell on the negativity of our pop cultures, because the whole purpose of the podcast was also to bring a bit more of a positivity to the nerd fandom, because the world itself is
dark and depressing and a black hole of sadness. And we dwell a little too much, I think, sometimes on the things that we don't like versus hyping up the stuff that we do like. I'd rather hear someone say, I love this because, versus I hate this. I think hate is such a strong word, too. And then, like, I hate this, so then I must like this instead of it, right? It's not saying that we don't have any Cup of Rage moments. We have our, cup of rage moments and things happen, because it's okay to feel towards things, but I think it's so often people just focus on how much something is obnoxious and terrible. And, I'd rather, that one of those golden rules that showed up when we were younger that I think people have forgotten. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah.
The world needs a little bit more of that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things is that we try to give reason for any of the films or any of the TV that we don't like.
Yeah.
But we also like to move on. Like, we're not going to sit there and just, if we don't like something, we're not going to beat a dead horse, right, with it. And I'm not going to go online and shout to high heaven about how much, and we're fairly open and forgiving because when it comes to a lot of media, because, it takes a lot, we're not making movies.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really say, hey, you know what? Everything you did was crap, when I don't know how to edit or make FX. Yes, I can be picky on some of the FX, but that's where I wanted to try to make sure that the podcast stays and moves in that direction of being a positive light for nerd culture and not getting hung up. We had our disagreements with, say, like the new He-Man show, but it never really brought it down to being anything that made me not want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I think we can all find the way of finding positivity to really bring ourselves up, because the world is still pretty dark right now. We're still pretty divided as a human race. And I think having the ability to find some positivity, a ray of light, and bring some more radness, can be quite special, especially when in the end of it, it's all media, it's all entertainment. Yeah, it's not a right. It's a privilege.
It's not something that is actually impacting our safety, our freedom, our integrity, our life, anything like that. It is, it's a privilege of entertainment. And to get so hung up on something, like, we've had our moments when something feels like, well, we didn't live up to our expectation of something, but at the same time trying to rationalize and to explain, the more of the reasoning, but then just moving on. It's not a treatment of people. It's not a social issue of health and happiness of someone. That those are events that to be more riled up about, those types of things, right?
Yeah.
So, but
so that's why we like to say it's a cup of rad. We're filling your cup with radness. We're overflowing into your ears and spreading the good gospel of positivity towards nerd culture.
I forgot to ask you a question.
Oh.
You had asked me Disney rides.
Oh, yeah.
What, pray tell, are your 3 top Disney rides?
Haunted Mansion, Matterhorn. Third place would have been Tower of Terror if it was still there. But then I go back to Space Mountain. Yeah. So.
There you go.
Because that was always, whenever we go to Disneyland, we go and get red beans and then head over to Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
So.
And see, I have a lot of fond memories from Big Thunder from one of my first trips there. So that one has a really special place in my heart. And that also has some good memories with Kiddo, because, when he's, it's one thing to be on Space Mountain or on California Screamin' when we couldn't really see him, but on Big Thunder you can see him. And when he had first held his arms up on there, that's really special, because then they're so open. Right. So.
And that's something too with the podcast too. We do talk a lot about being a couple, a nerd couple, and also having a child, right? And dealing with being parents in a nerd world. So,
nerd world parents.
Yeah, and we all have our fandoms, and apparently they don't necessarily just move on to your children.
Yeah, we even when you try. Even when you think that it's going to be that way, and you don't like tell them they have to have a certain fandom by any means. You just want to say,
gently nudge,
give them experiences, and then they're like, nope, I'm going to find my own things. It's going to be really, really focused on a few that have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
We're not bitter at all.
No, it's not bitter. It's just we don't understand it as parents.
No, we don't.
Right? Because we ourselves are people that have a blanket
wide variety of things.
Of
you know what I think for me though. Okay, so you always loved a lot of different things growing up. For me, I was very much not like that when I was little. Like my go-to, my only toy really was Barbies. It was everything Barbie, and a few other different things, but I didn't really have fandoms much other than like Disney Ariel was about it. Right. But I used to be very single-minded on a lot of music and a lot of taste like that. And then as I grew up and I realized how I finally found how freeing it was to be accepting of especially new things, and not be so stuck in my ways and so up and high and mighty about things. Like I could like music from the current period. I could like movies from this. I could like new fandoms. Like Sailor Moon would have been something I would never have considered when it was that same, not my age group for it at the time. It just never would have come across my path. But now I am okay with really appreciating it. And that was a very, very freeing, life-changing decision for me, was to open myself up to new fandoms. So, so that's one thing I really promote, that idea of just, I like sharing my fandoms with people, and I like being able to talk about a wide variety of things and really embracing all of that. Yeah. And because it's a whole nother level, it kind of still fits with my idea of being quirky. I loved always being quirky and kind of off the wall and that type of stuff. And it still fits that concept, but then it's just like a whole variety, realizing that no one is going to tell me like, oh, well, this is the little nook that she's supposed to fit into, a little bit of everything. So that's what I really enjoy. So. Yeah. Like I have a jean jacket that I have all these pins on and patches and everything. And like the other day I was looking at all the pins and there's a weird variety of things on there. I have Big Mouth followed by Rugrats followed by something completely different. Like they're just totally not making in the same ballpark, but why not? So, well, yeah, that's the beauty of it. I think it's like there's body positivity. There needs to be pop culture positivity. Yeah. Right. Really that accepting of just personality. Authentic self of just being who you are. Right. Yeah. And even if that means if you are hyper focused on one fandom. Yeah. Or if you're a smattering of them. Yeah. And that's okay. I think, because, we try to tell kiddo, like, it's okay. I just want him to make sure that he's expressing whatever he really feels. Yeah. And if all he really feels is two different things, then that's cool. But it is hard for us to understand it so much when he used to go from so many other things, a wide variety. So yeah. But yeah, by all means, it's fine. I think as long as he's just still open to something else, that's all. Yeah. So no, totally. Yeah. Well, even like Harry Potter, that was a big one for us for a while too, right? And it still is. I still like the world. House Slytherin. Just reminding you. Yeah. 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 So we were very much. Harry Potter fans. We still are, of course. And it's been about 5 years. Kiddo had wanted to figure out what house he was in. So we did all the Pottermore tests, found out our wands, our Patronus, our houses, everything like that. So Kiddo is a proud Ravenclaw. He still is proud to be a Ravenclaw. And he's got all sorts of merch to match it, and we've had wonderful experiences at Universal Studios Hollywood for that. I am Slytherin, and Mike is technically Slytherin. Yeah. He kind of rides the line there between Ravenclaw and Slytherin. Well, when Pottermore reloaded and they gave you the chance to redo your quiz, I redid my quiz and I was Ravenclaw. So I'd already had the Slytherin stuff, so I was like, well, I guess I'll just I think he's definitely a mix, and I think it's kind of interesting then knowing Kiddo and mine, because I firmly belong in Slytherin, but I think your really thing that moved you over there was just I want to be alone. Yeah, I'd rather be that than social or anything, but the very much more of the flexible artistic mind is more of the Ravenclaw aspect of things, right? So, but yeah, we got my whole family involved on there, which was fun, and so all sorts of things. Like So much to talk about.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like there's so much out there and so much ability to have, right, when it comes to it. One thing I'm going to say, and it's going to be wild to say it, but I'm going to start trying to focus more my collection, my toy collection, which seems crazy to say out loud. And even though I did show you things I was excited about today, doesn't mean I'm going to get them. I can still be excited about toys.
I would also just like to point out, he said this before, but he is more focused in some retrospect. Atrospect, you like that?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. That was a fun word. Okay, go ahead.
But I really feel like I want to focus mainly on my TMNT, especially the Super 7 stuff. Basically, the Super 7 stuff. They're bringing back the nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to still finish the Thundercats for the core team and the core mutants and all that, right? Because there's not a lot of like outside stuff for them that I want to get into, but the Turtles are still going to be my main focus, and I really am looking to pulling away from a lot of the other ones and having just more or less my Turtles collection, because that is I've got enough from other fandoms that I'm like, okay, I'm cool. Yeah, but Turtles is still one that, especially with Super 7 making reproductions of the old toys just with better articulation accessories.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That allows me to kind of be that nostalgia that I lost, right? Yeah. And, you know, yes, I'm still going to try to get the Toxic Crusader stuff if they ever bring them out. But, you know, that's such a small blip, you know, versus, you know, buying tons of Star Wars or Marvel or this, that, or this, right? Like, or even DC stuff. Like, I've gotten to that point with my DC stuff that I'm kind of
done with that.
Yeah, like I've got the stuff that I kind of want, and I'm kind of cool with what there's there, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad to have DC stuff back, but and I'm still going to take my pictures with them, but I want to focus all those towards my Turtles.
Makes sense. So I only have two figures. I want a few more Figure Arts Sailor Moon figures, but they're old, and I won't ever be able to get them unless they're slowly
reissuing them.
So we'll see. I need Tuxedo Mask, and I would love Black Lady. But Tuxedo Mask is the one thing that I need because I have all the Sailors, Legendary, and except for I don't have
Saturn.
I don't have Saturn, and I don't have Chibiusa. Yeah. But so I would love Saturn, but like Tuxedo Mask is the thing that I need. Yeah. To finish the set. Otherwise,
I would assume they would bring him out because they brought everyone else out with the anime colors.
You would think. Yep, you would think. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah.
But yeah, so
there's a nice, lovely reintroduction of us.
Yeah, so hopefully you're here for a long while, because I don't feel that we have any ideas about going away for a while, so we're gonna try our best to keep coming at you each week with
sometime a little bit more, depends on what we have. Especially we've been trying to do, so generally it's every Tuesday, and then if there's a new movie, we've been trying to maybe drop an extra one the following Friday after it. Just give a little bit of time for people to watch things. For so long, with COVID, there wasn't new movies. And so we really dug into old nostalgia stuff. And then it was kind of a weird mix-up when suddenly we could have spoilers for things, right? So I think it's kind of cool to be able to have more of a spoiler episode to really talk about something. So then if you haven't seen it, unfortunately, you got to skip that episode and come back to it later.
Yeah. But what we might do is on the Tuesday, give a quick review.
Yeah.
And then remind that there'll be a Friday drop.
Yeah. So
if we feel that there's enough to talk about on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll always know in Tuesday's episode if there's going to
be something, right? So it kind of gives it a little bit of flexibility there. So hopefully every Tuesday we'll be back.
Yeah. So before we jump into some brain-eating action, we did actually watch a new movie. This one we can spoil a little bit because it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
It's been out for months now.
But it was finally on streaming for us.
Yeah, it was on Star Plus, Disney Plus. Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds' new one. So that was a nice surprise to find out that was there, because it was one that we were considering to watch, and Kiddo bounced back and forth whether he wanted to see it. One moment he said yeah, the next minute he said nah, so we were like, oh, we'll just...
I didn't really want to go and bring him to theater if he wasn't sure about it, right? So it's great to have it on streaming, so as soon as it popped up on there, we're like, oh yeah, we have to watch this.
Yeah, so Free Guy is basically like the idea of like the online world of GTA and Fortnite, right? Free City. where people just go in and murder people and rob banks and steal things and just do whatever the heck they want, blow shit up, and you find out that Ryan Reynolds' character Guy is a bank teller. That basically he's an
NPC that starts questioning existence, right?
Yeah, he starts growing as a being because he meets a girl, right? So it's the idea of like, you know, what is freedom and what is, you know, what we should be able to do and what is life and all these kind of things. So it was, I was surprised. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I was actually quite surprised how much I laughed. It was fairly funny because there was a lot of the background stuff that I found more funny because you'd see the guys like just like jumping and bouncing off the walls or like teabagging someone, right?
Right. Well, and to see it, like, it gave you a different light of like, wow, this is what it feels like for your characters in GTA.
Yeah.
When you're going and blowing shit up, right?
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a weird way to think about it.
Yeah.
And seeing the background, you're like, yeah, there's always that one person. Like, you never know, like, they've been playing for 5 hours and then this is the time they're just spinning in circles. Like, some of the stuff that Kiddo does, even, that's so repetitive. Like, this is a little kid playing this right here. So that was quite funny to see.
Right. Because it's all done in live action, and you just see like the weird things happening and all that. And it was a quirky way to look at it, I think, for sure. So. I
was surprised how much I really enjoyed it. Like, I was expecting to be amused by it, but there was a lot more of a deeper story than the trailers gave on, which was really cool to see something different than what I was expecting. A lot more layered of a story that was also taking place in the real world and the game world, and having it intersect and affect one another. And I really liked that. And like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I would watch it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was totally fun. There's like the end, it got a little goofy with some of like the licensing drop kind of feel, but it feels like it felt like the idea of like the Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Where all of a sudden you have a licensed branded thing and you're like, oh, wait a second, I have this, right?
How did that get there? How did they get this, right? And it was all branded. But besides that, it was a fun movie. Yeah, I would watch it. Like, if you have Star Plus and you just want to kind of chuckle and enjoy an hour and a half of time with just something goofy, it's worth it. It's, you know, Ryan Reynolds is always charming and fun, right?
Oh, yeah, he did a great job. I think it was really awesome. So, and it's got the guy with the great hair from Stranger Things, doesn't it?
Nice.
Him and his great hair. I mean, you can't complain.
Fair enough. So,
important things, right?
Right. So, Free Guy, totally worth your time if you want to check that out and have a bit of a chuckle.
There you go.
So, October is all about the spooky season.
There you go. I was going to say, we got to say that.
Right? And it usually is here at Cup of RAD. It's always something spooky going on. And last week was vampires. We checked out 3 random vampire movies. That's sort of our theme this year.
Random monster movies.
Like, each week's going to be a genre of sorts. And we're just going to find what's available on streaming and check it out. So this week's theme is
zombies.
Now, which is pretty wild because zombies are not my favorite genre of horror movie.
Yeah.
I find them a little too cliche, a little too
the same.
Yeah. So we already did some zombies this year because of Army of the Dead. Right? We'd already checked out some. And, you know, a zombie movie shows up once in a while in a splattering of, you know.
But we had enough that we kind of earmarked. We're like, okay, yeah, this makes sense.
There was a lot to choose from, and it was hard to just randomly pick, right? So this segment, unlike some Radnesia moments from vampires, these are all movies that we've never seen.
Yeah, which is exciting.
And they're all a year or two old. So they're newer zombie movies in the last couple of years here. So they're not really classics.
Yeah.
So it's a different take on things. Because at the same time, with this whole month going forward, I want to look at some different horror movies, because we always kind of
same
you get your ones that you really dig, and I want to look at stuff that we haven't talked about, because there's no sense in always rehashing. Right. So zombie movies. So the first one we checked out, because this is one that we wanted to see but we never saw, and then we just kind of forgot about it. It came out in 2019. It starred Bill Murray and Adam Driver.
That's what I cared about.
And it was called The Dead Don't Die. And we found it on Netflix.
Yes.
So The Dead Don't Die is it like a black comedy?
I don't know.
Like, it's comedic. Right?
Oh, it is. As in, okay. Like a bleak kind of...
Yeah, dark comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy, yeah.
What did you think I meant?
I don't know. I don't know if it was... I thought you meant like it was based on something or something like that. But
oh, yeah.
No. I don't know. I just heard dark comedy makes more sense. Okay.
So it is the idea of a small town with a zombie outbreak. So
based on climate change.
Yes.
Really, it's not climate change. It's so the idea that was it fracking in the poles, which caused the Earth to shift alignment, and it wasn't rotating properly anymore, and that was cataclysmic and has caused the world to end because. I don't know how it started shifting. Like the animals started freaking out and
it started disappearing.
And so the first things they noticed was the rotation wasn't happening right, so the time was off for the sun, and then it was basically causing problems of the dead to reanimate.
Yeah.
So that was what it was. It wasn't a virus outbreak or anything like that. It was basically like something about the magnetic pole switching. It was a scientific aspect for things.
But was it? Because it had the alien aspect.
Said. We don't know. The alien, I'm just going to ignore the alien thing. So there was this weird random tangent that there was one singular alien on the planet. It had no bearing whatsoever on the story.
Yeah.
That was direct, at least.
Yeah.
And it made no sense. But there was an alien.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? But there was a lot of the delivery of the lines between Bill Murray and Adam Driver was fabulous.
Yeah.
Like very dry humor and very just deadpan, but just the way they talked. Like I thought, so the opening scene, I would like you, because you were just amused right from the very beginning. They're going out into the woods. And there's a guy that lives out in the forest.
Hermit Bob,
has played by Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Has been there for decades. And he was being accused of stealing a farmer's chicken. And they're going out there and seeing him. So what happens, Mike?
So Bill Murray, he's yelling at him about, stealing chickens is wrong. You broke the law. And then Hermit Bob shoots at them, right? And he's like, well, that's breaking the law too. Like, that's now 2 laws you've broken, right? He's like, but I want you to know, you've broken the law. Don't do it again. We're going to leave now. And they start walking away, and Hermit Bob flips them off and screams, fuck you, right?
Yeah.
And that is the epitome of my job. I literally saw that scene and I was like, I am Bill Murray when I'm at work. And I am just like, you did something wrong. Don't do it again. I'm going to go now. And
they just yell back at you.
Yep. That pretty much has been my work. So
that was how we set that the movie.
So I was laughing at that. That was
So Adam Driver has a catch, like a phrase that he says throughout the whole movie. Every time that something is weird, like when they first start talking about the clocks and everything, and he just turns and he says, "This isn't going to end well."
Yeah.
And it was just the weirdest thing. Like they would repeat that over and over again, and you just don't know why. And I liked how Bill Murray is carried. What are you talking about? What isn't going to end well? Like, what is it? Over and over and over again. Yeah. And just, or the lines when the first people get killed and they find these 2 murdered bodies, and they're just like, "There's an animal," or maybe several animals, and they all say the same thing over and over again, and it shouldn't be as funny, but it really is. It just, you still can't help but laugh about it.
Well, right? even Driver's line, which you heard in the trailers multiple times, so it's like, so what are you thinking this is? I'm thinking it's zombies. it was still funny.
Right?
Like, it still made me laugh.
And Bill Murray's like, you're telling me
you're going right
all
to
this,
zombies?
you're going right to zombies? I love how because he doesn't question it. He's just like, yeah, I'm thinking zombies.
Yep.
Like, it totally, like, why is it that people can't think that too, right?
Yeah.
You know? And it just, it was funny because there was a weird amount of acceptance on their part of like, yep, this is the way the world is right now. Like, they're zombies. And it was oddly refreshing to not have them in some, like, the whole world hadn't burnt down because it was just in this little tiny town and they're relatively calm about it.
Yeah.
So the zombies...
you were starting to hear that it was happening other places.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't focusing on those, right? So the zombies all seemed... Because, you know, so many times they're just like, okay, it's a zombie, and now they're looking for brains.
Yeah.
The zombies were all, as I say, they were reanimated, but they were all searching for whatever they needed when they were alive.
Yeah.
Or craved, wanted, right? So none of them were the same. You know, it was kind of disturbing, but there was like little children, and they called the candy and the toys. They were going after that.
Snickers.
Yeah. There was adults looking for wine or Xanax or things like that.
And they would say those things.
And then,
right?
so it was kind of fun because then if you just stopped and listened, you can hear all the different zombies saying something different, right? So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And then it kept so the near the end though, post the alien was a kind of a weird.
There's only two things that I wasn't a big fan of the movie. Like, as a whole, I really liked the movie because it was quirkily strange in the way it dealt with zombies and how it dealt with its characters. And it was another one of those ones where I look at and I see how they handle things in it. Reminded me almost of real life, almost. Like, it wasn't grand, it wasn't spectacular in how things were going on. It was just like...
It was very much of a real feel. No one became like an action star or something like
right?
that. Yeah.
And even when Driver's character starts like hacking heads off and stuff, and Bill Murray and the other cop, they're like, how are you okay with this? And he's like, well, just, you know. But the two things that were a little strange of the movie was that the sudden shift that there was an alien that didn't really do much. It was like reconnaissance almost.
Yeah, and then she just disappeared.
You know, and then the fact that there was like the continuing fourth wall breaking that they were actually actors in a movie.
But then that never resolved itself.
That never came back because they kept mentioning like, well, I read it in the script. What are you talking about? You read in the script? I never got the full script. I only got the scenes with you and I in it. Like, you know, so it was like this weird break moment. And it's not that I didn't like it. It was just, I was fully expecting that the end was going to be Bill Murray waking up from a dream.
Yes. And then it would have made more sense.
That's where when those moments happened, that's where my mind went, okay, this is all a dream. Like, he's sleeping in the jail cell next to this dead body. You know, he's tired, he's exhausted. You know, it's kind of that feel, right? But it didn't, you know, it was, you know.
It just ended with sadness and death.
Right? Like a real zombie outbreak probably would end.
Exactly, right?
So, but I really enjoyed it. I really got a kick out of it. It was super quirky and strange.
It did not disappoint for what I was expecting between the two of them. I really enjoyed it.
You know, I look at watching this and I go, maybe I need to go back and watch some of those other Bill Murray movies that I didn't really understand when I was a teenager, when those all that whole
he had some more like
the dried humor, right? I wonder if it'll hit more now, being older and experiencing things versus when a lot of them came out and it was, you know, I hadn't really,
it wasn't in our wheelhouse for it. Yeah, that would be a good idea, because
you look at so many other things that hit better now that you've gotten older and you understand. Yeah,
because I was worried it would be like kind of a weird thing with him, right? So one thing I loved is Adam Driver's character. They gave him so he drove this convertible smart car, which was awesome with how tall he is. Yeah. But he gives her the keys and he has a Star Wars ship, keychain, Star Destroyer, and it was just like this awesome little nod to it. He's like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, deal with it. So that was funny.
Totally. But yeah, check it out. It for us in Canada, it was on Netflix, so it might be on Netflix other places. But The Dead Don't Die. It's dry, but it was fun.
Second zombie movie we watched.
Okay, so I know that like zombies also aren't Katie's thing too, right? When it comes to
no, not really, because I never grew up with zombie movies at all,
but it was too much of a poignant genre to kind of.
But I enjoyed this because I really wanted to watch The Dead Don't Die, so I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense.
So I was trying to like find some that maybe would speak to her. So I found one that I had to double check to see it was actually a zombie movie, but. It came out in 2018. It starred Matt Smith. So I was like, okay, so it's got Matt Smith. She might be interested, right? It was called Patient Zero. I'd never seen it. It starred Matt Smith, Natalie Dormer, and it also had Stanley Tucci in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it was still rated R.
She'll accept this,
right? I was like, okay, let's throw this gauntlet down and see what it's like.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely not a standard zombie movie, that's for sure.
Yeah. So this one here was also on Netflix for us, but Patient Zero it was called.
Can I just point out, though, that we found it in a category that was 90-minute horror movies.
Yeah.
Netflix heard us.
Someone at Netflix heard us, because there's two categories on mine that actually says 90-minute horror, and then there was another one that was like 90-minute.
Yeah.
90 minutes or less or something like that.
We've been going on and on about how we needed something, a category of 90 minutes or less. And lo and behold, Big Brother heard.
Yeah. Someone passed that on to Netflix. So you're welcome, world.
Yeah.
We did this.
Yeah, totally.
We did
so
this.
we found this. Okay, Patient Zero.
So Patient Zero. So Matt Smith stars as a dude that was bitten but never turned. Yes. So he can understand the zombies and talk to them.
Because they have a bit of a different language.
The zombie whisperer.
Guttural communication. So he's the only one that can actually listen to them. So they're basically working in a military science lab, and they're trying to go back and find Patient Zero to be able to create a cure and a vaccine for it using the original blood. So they're trying to capture them, interrogate to see where they're from, and move
when
backwards.
When
they got turned and where. So they found that music messes with their system and it causes problems. So they kind of
like foam at the mouth and like
so it's like an overload for their sensory. And then so they kind of control them and they strap them down, and then he goes in and talks to them. So then this just going over and over again. Right?
Yeah, it's the same kind of scene a bunch of times, and like the military is getting frustrated, and they're in this underground bunker, and they're like, it's not gonna be long before they find us. This is and you get to see how they've got such a small window. Like they try to, like, the one guy gets bit and they we have like 65 seconds or something. They cut off his arm, but he still turns. So it's like, there's lots of like little things like that, but it's not really your typical zombie movie. Yeah,
because you're not out trying to kill them and move around to survive.
Yeah, there's not the survival feel. Yeah. And also too is the idea that he can talk to them, so you're having these conversations, but no one else can understand them. They're speaking in chirps and all that, but they never show that. That's what I thought was weird. They never really showed that.
They only had it once in a while. You would never really, you never saw it from everyone else's point of view watching their conversation. It was just once in a while you could hear the other zombies speak, but you never heard Matt Smith's character.
Make him look.
Yeah, but it was he only communicated what he chose to communicate to them.
Yeah. So it was
to the scientists.
Yeah. So it was definitely a different take on it.
Well, he's trying to. So his wife, you find out they had like the storage prison of all these zombies, and his wife had gotten turned and is down there, and they're working on a treatment for her with the head scientist using his blood as a therapy, and it's holding it back, so she's still cognitive and she can talk to him, but she's still, you can see the more she's more turned. Right? So they're trying to save her. And then so they...
that was kind of like really horrible feeling though. Like here he is trying to save his wife, but he's like going to Pound Town with the doctor in the bathroom.
Yeah. That was like it was very animalistic actually, but it was a sex scene.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't graphic, but it was like right in there, right?
Yeah. It was all in.
It was impressive. But it stood out from the rest of the movie, right? But yeah, so he's sleeping with her and having a relationship, but at the same time, like
trying to save his wife.
Yeah,
so like that was like, but he's using the doctor to try to save his wife. Like that was a weird moment. That was one thing that was like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
like
so.
But
yeah, so basically they're bringing all the military personnel back that had gotten killed in raids to try to capture the zombies, and they're finding that things are changing out there and they're kind of evolving. The zombies are evolving, but then these military guys are checking all their dog tags, and the one jumps up and starts attacking people, and he basically Trojan horse himself in. He was a professor that had gotten turned. This was Stanley Tucci, and he was totally different than the other zombies that they had interrogated before. He was calm. He basically specifically had asked to talk to the one that can understand. Yeah. So he was seeking out to get into the facility. Yeah. And I think they realized that a little too late, that they all knew that he was there. Yeah. And so his character is very calm. He's smoking. He's having he's not all rabid. Yeah. Right. And he's essentially saying, it was a total different twist on the zombies, that they believe they're the evolved species idea, right?
Taking out all the emotion and all the...
Yeah, so it was basically cleansing the earth of something that, it was the idea that the earth was not being able to sustain humanity anymore. So then something happened.
It created something to
cleanse the earth, right? Yeah. So, and then they're taking over. And for them, the person that didn't survive, Matt Smith, from the bite, didn't get turned from the bite and survived.
They were afraid of him.
Yeah, he's the risk. He's
their patient zero.
Yeah, so trying to find out, he could possibly be the link as to getting rid of the zombies. So they wanted to take him out. So they had been trying and setting in people that had trackers and to find him, right? So that was a cool twist, that you actually see this strategy from the zombies. That turned into something chaotic, because now they get overrun in the facility, right?
So. And it's your stereotypical action-y kind of movie from there, right? It's one that I found interesting. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but I don't know if it's one I'd go back and watch again. Yeah. It's not like, I'd probably watch The Dead Don't Die again. Yeah. Right? But...
because there was humor in that one, right?
Patient Zero, though, there wasn't enough. It wasn't even enough, awesome kills where, sometimes you watch a horror movie and you're like, man, that was brutal, or there was something in it that was just clicks, and you're like, yeah. It was almost too dry of a horror movie. Yeah. It was almost like the highbrow zombie film. Yeah. That almost, but then kind of didn't get there, because then it just turned into your stereotypical action movie almost, right?
And what I'm sad about, because then with all this, I'm like, okay, well, how are they going to end this? And then it just ends literally with them walking off into the forest, driving away. Yeah. So they just leave. Yeah. And it ends with them talking more of see what's going to happen, and kind of an idea of a hope for a future, but not it feels like there should have been a second one that was planned. Yeah. And so it really was just a snippet of story. And that's it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I guess really, unless you actually had found a cure, what really could you have solved?
True.
But still, it was okay, I guess it's over. Yeah.
It abruptly ends. Yeah. Right, without any real satisfying conclusion. Yeah. Right? So
it wasn't a bad movie, but it was very forgettable. Yeah. Because literally 2 days later, I'm like, what was that other movie we watched? So yeah.
So maybe not one that you'd want to check out if you're a big zombie head, right? Yeah. Because
it's not really a zombie movie. Yeah. It's it was more of a commentary, a little it was a weird commentary for being a 2018 movie. on how the world kind of turned with COVID, honestly. And that's my own,
what I thought was interesting, though, was when I went to search it up, I put in Patient Zero in the movie, is it... And the first thing it said was about COVID.
Yeah.
On Google.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, I'm putting zombie in, like, what, like, so other people must have thought that it was like,
because I mean, you know, it's not a far fetch to think that at some point, you know, because I did always feel like a virus or a microorganism of some sort would be a downfall for humanity, because, and we're seeing that that's exactly what is the problem. But that's how it kind of came across, right? Was the idea of something, you know, throwing something out of whack and it creating something that evolves. And that concept has been around from before, with the idea of an evolutionary step. So it's not completely unheard of, but that's more where it is rather than the zombie aspect of things, right? You could really just replace it with anything of an evolved creature and it would be the same. So it was there. Yeah. So we found the next movie.
The next zombie movie we checked out was also on Netflix. We did a full Netflix run this week. But we decided to check out Zombieland 2 because we'd never seen Zombieland
Double Tap, right?
Yeah, Zombieland Double Tap.
Okay.
So
we've been like saying, because we really liked the original one, we're like, oh, we gotta watch this. We never had a place to watch it, and then it finally showed up on Netflix, and we're like, okay, we have to watch this.
So Zombieland Double Tap is pretty much everything you enjoyed from the first one. Again, there's not much difference, really. Like, a lot of the humor is exactly the same. Yeah, the they bring the rules back, they bring all that, and they bring the over the top video game style zombie kills, right? Because they're looking for the kill of the year, right?
Did they do the kill of the week in the? I don't remember a lot of it. It's been
they had some, not a lot of it, but it's there.
So I thought it was kind of funny that it was like, you know, submitted kills of the week and everything like that. Yeah. So that was funny.
They mention it, but I don't remember it being a lot.
A little bit different now.
Yeah, you know, bigger budget probably. It's like, but what do you think? What do you think of Zombieland Double Tap?
You know what? I really enjoyed it. It was funny. It moved quickly. It was a good pace for it. It had good action, but at the same time, not just action. Like, enough of this story, a development of characters. They did change. Yeah. Which was nice, but it wasn't such an about face that it was like, this wasn't the same person at all that the movie started out with. Yeah. As I say, I remember liking Zombieland. I don't remember it very, very well because I realized how far long ago it really was. So that wouldn't be bad to maybe watch it as a Red Nietzsche at some point for us. But yeah, I was really happy with it. I was glad after how long of looking at it and being like, oh, we got to watch this, that it wasn't like, oh, what the hell was this crap? Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed, especially because this is one of those times where, like, for a zombie movie, there was a lot of creative kills. Like, that opening scene itself made it worth it. Yeah. Right? Like, where you literally just slow-mo, explosive. It was
so artistic, but also,
so brutal. Yeah. And so that was like, I was like, well, this year is really what I want to see in a zombie movie. Like, I think about it, when it comes to zombies, you just want to see people obliterate things or get obliterated. Yeah. I could care less about all, like, the actual inner working drama between teams. I just want to see carnage. Yeah. And that's what I realize when it comes to a zombie film. Yeah. Right.
I liked how it's showing them, because they moved into the White House, and I thought that was funny with all the different things that they were just hanging out in the White House for.
Finding all these things.
I'm surprised that no one else was living there. It
must have been taken over at one point by zombies or something. Yeah. Because they had the whole barricade around it. It must have gotten overwhelmed.
But Woody Harrelson's character was hilarious.
I think he's the best part of that movie.
Oh, yeah, because he's just he's so sure of what and who he is. Yeah. And he has such dramatic reactions to things, and it was hilarious. Yeah. Like, he either loves something or hates something. Yeah. Like, it's so extreme, but he's so very authentic about it, right? Yeah. So I thought that was funny. And, you know, there's this other girl, Madison, that showed up, and she's meant to be irritating and obnoxious and a bimbo. And I was afraid it would get overused, but it was just enough that it was obnoxious, but it wasn't like, oh my God, make her go away.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it made me
because
angry,
there was a
right?
decent amount of humor in it, though.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think I was pleasantly surprised that it did a good job of balancing that and being like, you were okay when, you think she got turned, but then like it worked out okay that she came back because she actually did help things, in her own weird way. She just wasn't the right fit for that family, but she wasn't a terrible person, really, So that was pretty cool. The monster truck was hilarious.
When they meet their doppelganger, that was pretty fun. That was a pretty cool scene when they get turned. Yeah. And the camera was flowing, doing the Michael Bay circle camera thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was actually pretty cool.
I like that whole scene after that when they're fighting with them, that it's moving around all the different rooms, and it's following the people and also being static and watching them move around the set. Like, I thought that was a really cool shot. Yeah. Because it gave you that feeling of the chaos. Yeah. Because it made you kind of like, oh my gosh, there's so much happening, and people are flying between rooms and people are running around and the camera's moving and the people are moving, but it wasn't difficult to focus too. Yeah. So I think that was a good visual, a good visual, and also kind of bringing you into the movie itself. Yeah. Right. So,
but you were talking about like when they were running zombies over with the...
Yes, I liked when they were running everyone over. The hordes of zombies being run over by the monster truck was fabulous. Yeah.
And it gets pretty extreme. Like, Zombieland is like extreme. Yeah. Like, everything, this one's almost cartoon feel, right? So.
I also liked it when he was reading the Walking Dead comic, which was so funny. He's like, wow, this is like really brutal and like completely unrealistic. That was so funny because it's so different than what their world is, right? So
one thing that I thought was kind of interesting, though, with all three zombie movies we watched, all three of them had a different take on the zombies, but each of them had something that was like a different trait that really hadn't been in other movies. Okay. So like the Dead Don't Die, your zombies were going to their primal urges, right? Mm-hmm. Or what they need. Desires. Patient Zero, they could talk and they could strategize
and communicate. Yeah.
Right. And then they only had 3 types of zombies originally. They had the Homer, which was just kind of the dumb zombie. They had the Hawking, which was the strategized zombie. And then they had the Ninja, which was from the shadows. Well, this one introduced the T-800 zombie that they called. And it wasn't just a simple double tap to the head. You had to obliterate its head.
Yeah, it took 15 bullets idea, and then he stomped on it to kill it.
So that idea that they were changing, like, kind of feel, and that's where almost this Zombieland Double Tap goes more into like the video game era, where like, all those,
what new thing can we throw at them?
Like that idea where, in video games, zombies are all different. There's like your grunt, your next level up, your strength. So I just think that was kind of interesting, especially having all of them have like, they were evolving, they were changing. Yeah. Right.
Well, and it also kind of fits if you want to put a zombie as if it's a virus. It would make sense for them to evolve faster than we can, because that's what viruses do. So it would make sense, right?
So, So out of the 3 of them, though, well, okay, would you recommend watching?
Oh, yeah, I totally would. I mean, as long as you liked the original one, there's no reason why you wouldn't.
The laugh and the
you got the good characters for it, and it's a good mix of action and humor, and this definitely is, you have the zombie kills, right?
Out of the 3, if someone was like, hey, which one should I check out? Which one would you say? I only got time for one of them. What should I watch, Katie?
You know what? Honestly, if you're really like, I want to watch a zombie movie, I would say Zombieland Double Tap. Yeah. Because then it has that bit of that mix for things because of that action. Because as much as I love the humor and I like the dry humor of the Dead Don't Die, but the Zombieland is the action. Yeah. And that's always a good time.
The zombie carnage.
Yeah. So I would go that one, then the Dead Don't Die, and then if you feel like you have time, Patient Zero. Yeah. Because it wasn't a waste of time, but it was definitely...
it was drier.
Drama.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was a drama.
Yeah.
Not so much.
So we got action in the middle of the road, more of a humor, and then drama. So
Fair
what
enough.
about, you agree with that, or what do you think?
No, I do. I agree with that. Zombieland 2 Double Tap is definitely the balls to the wall,
Yeah.
action zombie movie. So it's definitely more if you're just looking for pure zombie carnage without a lot of like thought.
Yeah.
That's that one. But out of the three of them, I would definitely say watch The Dead Don't Die.
Oh yeah.
Only because it's weird.
Yeah.
And it's that
I would
weird.
definitely recommend it. Like,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Definitely would recommend it. I think because like I don't really, I like these in general, even all three of them, since zombie is not really my favorite thing to have. I like the little bit more casual, like the funny and the action rather than the creepy and the grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's other ways for me to find the suspense and the creepy, and the gross aspect for other things than with them. Right?
Well, see, my favorite zombie movie, and this is why the humor of these two is the Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
I love that one.
I love that movie.
Right. So it's hard for other zombie movies, but there's so many of them.
Which is why I think we probably both like The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah.
Is because it kind of has that humor, right?
Yeah. So there's so many zombie movies. We could have done like 4 weeks of zombie movies.
Yeah.
Like there's that many out there because there's so many different types.
Yeah.
So you might see a zombie movie come back in these weeks, depending on the theme, whatever we hit. Because there's lots of different themes that we could come up with.
Yeah.
So, but next week, it's all about the werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We're going to be howling at the moon with our werewolf episode. So 3 random werewolf movies that have not been selected yet will be selected on the nights of viewing. And we will be coming at you with a big bite of fangy, hairy goodness.
Oh, so favorite monster.
Yes, Katie's favorite monster. So,
thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
and stay rad, dudes.